War Eagle SEC play opens across the board. I'm Lauren Christopher. Here with me is Sarah Palczewski, and this is Tiger Tally on Eagle Eye TV. We have all you'll need to know the latest of Auburn sports, so let's get to it. Boom! Sean White is established as the starting QB as he led the Tigers to their first win of the season.
The Auburn Tigers got their first win of the season, beating Arkansas State 51-14. Sean White led the team, passing 244 yards and ultimately getting 3 touchdowns, earning his spot as starting quarterback for the season.
Well, I mean, he did a great job tonight. Yeah, I mean, he's our quarterback and just did a super job. And, I think he'll have a chance to get better and better.
Tony Stevens was a strong receiver with a touchdown in each half. Kyle Davis had an amazing one-handed catch, and Trey Williams had 1 sack in the first half. Cameron Petway came in, rushing 103 yards in the first half and finishing with a total of 152 yards. Auburn's defense was able to hold Arkansas State, allowing just 2 touchdowns the entire game. Daniel Carlson showed what an athlete he is, going 3 for 3 in field goals and running 20 yards for a touchdown. Kerryon Johnson came in and proved he's one of the top running backs, finishing with 124 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Overall, Gus Malzahn was very happy with the way his offense and defense played and is looking forward to the matchup against Texas A&M this upcoming weekend. With Eagle Eye Sports, this has been Olivia Piazza.
After the game, thousands of Tiger fans met at Toomer's Corner for the first rolling of the new Oaks. Even Coach Gus Malzahn and several players were there to roll the trees. The Tigers will return to Jordan-Hare this Saturday to open up their SEC play against Texas A&M. Kickoff is set for 6. The 2017 football schedule has been released. Here's a quick look to what is to come for Auburn football next year. Look at the schedule at home. Visit www.auburntigers.com. Sit back and relax. More to come when we return. You're watching Tiger Tally on Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.
Welcome back. Let's get things kicked off with what's up this week with soccer. Auburn soccer opens SEC play and takes down Vanderbilt.
On Friday evening, the Auburn Tigers faced their first SEC opponent of the season and ended their 2-game losing streak with a 2-1 win over the Vanderbilt Commodores. Both teams had a physical game, with Auburn committing 10 fouls and Vanderbilt committing 13. In the 14th minute, Brooke Ramsier scored the first goal of the game for Auburn and put the Tigers up 1-0. Both teams had several scoring opportunities, with Auburn shooting at the goal 14 times and Vanderbilt shooting 7 times. The second goal of the game did not come until the second half, when Kristen Dodson scored in the 73rd minute, putting the Tigers up 2-0. The Commodores responded quickly with a goal by Sasha Gray in the 74th minute. However, it was not enough, and Auburn was able to hold on thanks to Sarah LeBeau's 2 saves. Auburn's next opponent will be the Baylor Bears at the Auburn Soccer Complex Sunday at 2. For Eagle Eye Sports, I'm Meredith Brito.
The Tigers played again on Sunday, and after more than 2 hours of weather delays, they went on to defeat the Baylor Bears 1-0. History was made Friday night in Auburn soccer as Casey Ramsier surpassed Katie Frierson in all-time shots taken in Auburn program history. Ramsier now has 231 on her career. Free food. Head men's basketball coach Bruce Pearl, along with some of the Auburn soccer parents, will be hosting a barbecue for students at the Auburn Soccer Complex this Sunday starting at 5:30 prior to the soccer team kicking off versus South Carolina at 6. Wings and ribs will be served. Women's volleyball went 2 for 1 this weekend in the Auburn Invitational. Auburn swept both Memphis and Jacksonville, but struggled against Miami, Ohio, losing the match 3-2. Volleyball will be back in action this weekend in the Michigan Invitational. First serve is set for 6 on Friday. Up next, we'll get into our fantasy football competition. You're watching Tiger Tally on Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.
Gosh, Darlene, it sure is amazing how much we have in common.
I know, Larry. We both love three-car pileups. We both were built in Buffalo.
And we both know wearing safety belts helps save thousands of lives.
Yeah, this is fascinating.
Don't mind Vince. He's getting over a bad breakup.
I know. Janet's picking up the pieces, too. They're in here.
I wish they understood it's all worth it to get people to buckle up.
Hey, lacerated lovebirds, I sense a major crush.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt.
Talk about head over heels.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Blitz. I'm your host, Meredith Brito. Here with me are a few members from the Tiger Tallies Fantasy Football League. Erica, JJ, Sarah, how are you all doing today?
Well, I'm doing good. You know, it's a great day to be alive.
Week 2 fantasy football season. We're excited and doing well.
Doing great, especially after a win in Week 1 fantasy football.
This week will be our second week of fantasy football. Week 1 was full of upsets and some teams were predicted to win over others, but ultimately this past week set the stage for how good everyone's teams will be. This week, the winners were Brooks, Jared, Erica, Sarah, and Micah, who scored the most points in the league with 116.5. Matchups this week will include Edelme Longtime versus the Deckers, One Last Shiva Blast versus the Best Team, It's On Like Gronky Kong versus Bill's Mafia, Honey Funches of Oats versus Teamy McTeamface, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Bortles versus the Olivias. Guys, who was your biggest impact player from week 1?
My biggest impact player was definitely Antonio Brown. Him on Monday night definitely drove my team past the Best Team just to give me those extra points with his 2 touchdowns. It was incredible for me.
My team didn't do too well. Failed to show up. Des Bryant really let me down. And I think all that goes to Dak Prescott, who decided for some reason not to throw to Des Bryant, which is still beyond me, and I don't understand that. But my best performer this week would be David Johnson for the Cardinals with what he did in the backfield for them.
I have to say, even though I came out with a win, my best player sat on my bench in Larry Fitzgerald, who was out all week on concussion protocol and was predicted not to play, but decided to play and have 20 points while sitting on his bench.
Tonight we have an AFC division rival matchup with the New York Jets traveling to Buffalo to face the Bills, with both teams starting their seasons 0-1. Who do y'all have winning the game tonight?
For me right now, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. I think Rex Ryan and his defense is just going to overtake what the Jets are doing, and they're going to get that first division win.
I've got to take the Jets tonight. The Jets lost a tough one to the Cincinnati Bengals, lost that one in the final drive within the last 2 minutes. Buffalo, Sammy Watkins, his injury, I don't know if he's going to be fully healthy, and playing on a short week of rest doesn't help. And then also the quarterback situation. Tyrod Taylor did not look good in their week 1 game. So I really hope that for Buffalo's sake that they can turn around. But tonight I think the Jets come out on top.
I'm going to have to take Buffalo with a family from Buffalo and knowing Ralph Wilson Stadium, the new era field. I believe the Bills will win. They'll come out on top. Ryan Fitzpatrick, former Bills quarterback, is 1-8 when facing Rex Ryan as a head coach. And playing with the 12th man and having Bruce Smith's number retired tonight in the stadium, it's always an electric atmosphere on a Thursday night or any night game in Buffalo.
Moving on from NFL, we move to college football. Compared to week 1, week 2 went as most would have predicted, except in the Arkansas-TCU game where Arkansas pulled out a win. Looking forward to week 2, who do you all have in Florida State at Louisville?
Right now, I'm going to have to go with Florida State. I think what they did last week was just a great turnaround compared to their first half in that first game the first week. I think what they're doing over there is just a good job. And I think Louisville is going to be a strong contender for them, but I really feel like Florida State's going to pull out that win in the end.
Yeah, Louisville's playing some great football right now. Their quarterback, Lamar Jackson, not only is his last name a good one, but his performance on the field has been awesome as well. However, with that being said, I think Florida State is too strong, and Dalvin Cook running the football for them is going to create a lot of problems. Give me the Seminoles.
I'm going to have to pick Florida State as well. What they did in the first 2 weeks, especially in the second half against Ole Miss, they were able to show how well they can play against any team in the SEC or any team in the college football right now. So I'm picking the Seminoles.
Now, last year, Alabama's only loss came to Ole Miss, but this year, Alabama will be traveling to Oxford to face them again. Who do you all have facing in the Alabama at Ole Miss game?
I'm going to go with Alabama. Ole Miss, their struggle with Florida State, to take the first half from Florida State in week 1, but then to just lose it, it was just not impressing to me. And just Alabama, even though they didn't put up as much points as we would have thought they would have against Western Kentucky last week, I really feel like Alabama has got some revenge on them, and they're going to be holding it down for a big win in Oxford.
Yeah, I just don't see Ole Miss beating Alabama 3 straight years. If we go back to the last trip to Oxford, there's those photos that you see of fans ripping the goalpost out and taking it out of the stadium there in Oxford. I just think Alabama's too good. Give me the Crimson Tide.
I'm going to have to go with Alabama. What they've done in the start of college football, especially taking down a ranked team in USC in week 1, I think they're going to roll over the Rebels.
Who do y'all have in Michigan State at Notre Dame?
This one's actually going to be a hard one for me to pick, but I think I'm just going to go with Notre Dame. It's more of a personal pick for me. I think it's going to be a good matchup. I really do. I think it's going to come to the fourth quarter.
I like Notre Dame as well. I like Deshaun Kaiser there at quarterback and what they're able to do on the offensive side of the ball. Give me the Fighting Irish.
I'm going to have to go with Notre Dame. Notre Dame looks pretty good this season so far, and even though they lost week 1 against Texas, I think they'll come back strong against another ranked opponent in Michigan State.
What about Ohio State at Oklahoma?
Ooh, another good matchup. I think Ohio State's playing out of their mind, and Oklahoma, they're up and down, but I'm going to have to go with the Ohio State Buckeyes on this one.
I think this is the game of the weekend. Ohio State and Oklahoma, 2 premier programs in college football. I think J.T. Barrett at quarterback position for Ohio State is a guy that I can trust, and that offensive side of the ball of Ohio State. Give me the Buckeyes.
I want to go with Ohio State as well. Urban Meyer has been playing extremely well, or coaching extremely well up in Ohio State, so I'm going to have to go with the Buckeyes.
Since when has he been playing?
What about USC at Stanford?
This is always a good matchup. This is always just a pure rivalry, and it's good to have it early in the season, whereas, in the end of the season where we get our main rivalries. But I think USC, they're still hurting from that Alabama loss, but I think that they're going to actually pull out the win over Stanford.
I love Christian McCaffrey and what he does for Stanford. I think he should win the Heisman Trophy with what he can do, returning kicks, catching balls out of the backfield, and running the ball as well. Give me Stanford.
I'm going to have to agree with JJ. Christian McCaffrey looks like a great Heisman candidate at this point in the season. I'm going to go with Stanford.
Hey, I'm going for the underdog for this one. It's okay.
What about Texas A&M at Auburn?
SEC play opens up on the Plains. It's going to be a great matchup to have the Aggies in town. I just think overall, I think the game's going to go good for either team, but I'm going to have to go with Texas A&M over the Auburn Tigers.
I really like what I saw out of Auburn's offense against Arkansas State, really opening up the playbook and getting a lot of guys involved. The fact that Auburn was able to run both Kerryon Johnson and Cameron Petway for over 100 yards, I think is so important in Gus Malzahn's office. 706 yards of total offense. I think Auburn's rolling right now. It's going to be a big test for them, but I think they get that statement win to kick things off in SEC play.
I'm going to have to disagree with JJ and go with Erica. I think Texas A&M looks too good in the first 2 games of the season. And although Auburn started their offense pretty well, I just think Sean White in the offense doesn't have what it takes against Texas A&M.
There's just too much inconsistency with Auburn's offense. I mean, their defense is stout, but I just think that it's just not going to work for them this weekend.
And that does it for this week's show of Tiger Tally. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Once again, this is Tiger Tally on Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.